I'm sensible, I'm responsible, and I'm here to tell you that magic is real. Let me prove it to you. I was 15 when I pedaled my bike, a black Huffy with dirt tires, across a dusty Albuquerque prairie to reach my local bookshop. I had allowance and birthday money to spend, and a thirst that could only be quenched with a new book. I parked the bike, locked it up, and then perused the shelves for what seemed like hours. The store had these big, comfy chairs, I remember, blue and welcoming, and whenever I found a potential new book, I'd sit down with it and take the first chapter or two for a quick spin. I was into fantasy back then, the kind of magic that a 15-year-old on a beaten-up bike wanted to believe in as he pedaled his way here and there under the hot sun, ever watchful for scorpions and snakes. The kind of magic that isn't real, of course. I found such a fantasy on the new release shelves, a big and fat one, The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. I picked it up. I liked the nifty cover it had on the outside and the cool map it had on the inside. I thought it had the hum of Tolkien. So I sat down in one of those stuffed blue chairs and started to read. In pages, I was hooked. I spent every dime of the little coin I had and claimed my prize as my own. I tucked it into my backpack and pedaled home faster than I'd ever done before. Not because of the snakes or the scorpions, because of the magic. That magic stayed with me long after I devoured that first book. Every year I saved up to buy the latest volume in The Wheel of Time as soon as I could. I am, one of its many millions of fans. I read the books on the bus to high school. I read them in college and in graduate school, where I earned a PhD and became a specialist on the Middle Ages. I am, a serious academic. If I should read the chronicler Adam of Usk claiming there was a dragon haunting northern England 600 years ago, I will find a natural phenomenon to explain it. Because, despite my love of fantasy literature, from Homer to Beowulf and Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, from Tolkien to Jordan and N.K. Jemisin, I know magic isn't real. And yet, after I graduated, I was asked to interview for a professorship at the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina. The only thing I really knew about the place came from a single notice on the back of every book of The Wheel of Time in my library. Robert Jordan was a graduate of the Citadel. I interviewed. I got the job. I moved to Charleston, and every day I walked past the iconic white tower on our campus. Every day, more and more, I wondered if that meant something. A coincidence, of course. Magic isn't real. And yet. In the fall of 2006, I was talking to the Citadel's other big-name literary alumnus, Pat Conroy, about starting student writing awards to honor him and James O. Rigney, Jr., the man the world knew as Robert Jordan. Pat suggested he could write Jim to help introduce me. Before I knew it, I was exchanging emails with the man who'd given me The Wheel of Time. I mentioned to Jim I was a fan. I told him at one point that I hoped to publish fiction myself one day, and I planned to do it with Tor for no other reason than the fact that they'd given people like me his Wheel of Time. He said he looked forward to my success. "You have my best wishes on your rise soon to bestsellerdom," he wrote me in early January 2007. A few months later, he came to the first ceremony to bestow the student award named in his honor. He was already very ill, but he nevertheless cut a dashing figure with his lovely wife and legendary editor, Harriet, by his side. My script had me call out thanks to the English department for their support. From the first row, Jim grumbled that he'd been an engineering graduate. It was awesome. We shook hands. I thanked him for helping change my life. He was charming and kind and unforgettable. The summer passed. On September 16th, I was making photocopies for my class on Norse mythology when I heard that he'd died. For a moment, it felt as if the magic in the world had died too. And yet, not long afterward, the chair of my department called me into his office and told me that Jim had been elected into the South Carolina Academy of Authors. I was asked to give a speech at the ceremony.